everybody? What's up? What's going on? Welcome to the 36th episode of, you guessed it, Raptors in 1, baby. So guys, I want to talk about the back-to-back that the Raptors played. The first night of the back-to-back being against the Philadelphia 76ers, and then of course the second night being against the Houston Rockets. So if you've already guessed it, or if you've already obviously watched it by now, we know the Raptors won both the games of a back-to-back. But there is more to these victories than just having to know about the fact that the Raptors won. And that's what I'm going to talk about. So without any further ado, let's get it. First night of the back-to-back, Philadelphia 76ers. Raptors take them on, and a lot of U.S. media outlets were kind of... they were kind of giving the Philadelphia 76ers the edge. And I myself kind of had my doubts just because I knew that Freddie and OG were not going to be playing. So I was like, ooh, this is going to be tough, right? But I still reluctantly gave the edge to the Raptors. Of course, the fan in me just could not see the Raptors not winning this game, even though it could have gone either way. But yeah, I'm glad I chose the Raptors to win it, because they did win it. Without Freddie and OG. That's point number one everybody's got to know. We did not have our floor general. So obviously, generating offense or running the offense in general, can get a little challenging. But, you know who stepped up big time? Spicy P, that's right. All-Star / Playoff P is here already. That's right. He's here, and he ran the offense for sure. I gotta give a special shout out to Precious. Now, if you have been following my channel, you have been watching my videos, you realize that I had a special video, pretty much calling out Precious and Chris Boucher. I had said, you know, if the Raptors are gonna make some noise, or if they're gonna be stepping in the right positive direction, these two, they need to step their game up, especially because we were so vulnerable in the paint and in that center position. I had held these two accountable. I gotta say, I don't know if they're watching my videos, but if y'all are not watching my videos or not subscribing, you need to do that soon, because I wouldn't be surprised if Chris and Precious watched this video and they're like, okay, you know what? It seems like our regular fan has just kind of got wind that we are not picking up our weight. And they stepped it up. They've stepped it up, I would say, just about before the All-Star break. And then they just ramped it up and took it away since the All-Star break. These two athletes, these two centers / power forward / they could play almost any position at this point, especially Precious. They have stepped it up, and so did Precious. In this game, he scored 20 points, and he's shooting 3-pointers. I know I've already mentioned this like 3 videos ago, but he's shooting 3-pointers now, and it's being consistent. If I can remember, I'm gonna guess he's shooting at least 2 3-pointers a game. That's crazy. That's added another wrinkle on the opponent's forehead. Now they're wondering, gosh, he can shoot the 3. Do I close out on him? Well, if I close out on him, he's going to blow by me, or he's just going to go to the paint, and that's where he's even more of a threat. What do I do? And this is a wonderful problem. This is only going to bode well for the Raptors. Chris Boucher, you know, he did his thing, of course. He did exactly what was required of him. You know, like I typically point out, the hustle plays, hustling on both ends, not just offense, but the defense as well. You know, just being fearless with his offense too. You know, sometimes it's like a double-edged sword where, yes, you know, you will just take that 3 you may that you're not supposed to, and sometimes it'll go in and sometimes it doesn't, but it kind of keeps the defense guessing and keeps it honest, right? Which is what kind of opens up the middle. But again, for somebody like Chris who's still not consistent, you know, But again, he makes up for it. He makes up for it at the defensive end, and he makes up for it with the offensive rebounds and the putbacks, and cutting to the making the right cuts and the right reads. So he did what he's supposed to do. Whoop! That's the sound of the police. Now I'm gonna come back to Precious. Man, he was on fire. 5 for 7 from the 3-point range. Like, that's insane. Yeah, like, I guess the Philadelphia 76ers did not get the memo, or they just are not respecting his shot. Like almost everybody else in the league right now. They're just taking their chances with him at the 3-point line. And I don't blame him. If I was the opponent too, I'll be like, yeah, you know what? You only just started getting these 3-point shots. I'm taking my chance. Go ahead, take that shot. I'm just going to clog the lane for you. But yeah, he made him pay. There was this one play where he just did like a pull-up 3. Kind of like a Lowry / Freddie does, you know? Like, I'm just gonna bring the ball up the court and just pull up for that 3. Boom. And he hit it. Scotty Barnes, you know I'm talking about, my rookie of the year. Scotty Barnes. I've been his fan since day one. I recognize that talent since the preseason games. And you know what? He has not let me down. He's not proving me wrong. He got himself a double-double. Yes, 40 minutes of action. But he did exactly, he makes the winning plays. He comes in the clutch. Whether it's just crashing that critical board or whether it's hitting that critical bucket, getting that critical bucket, And of course, there's a reason why he didn't score as much. Because our main man, playoff P, Pascal, he has gotten 37 points in the game. Now, his matchup, of course, being against Joel Embiid, and we know historically, Embiid always used to, up until this season, used to get the best of Pascal. And to a certain degree, he still does because he's a bigger boy, right? But, Pascal, we can see that with the time that he's been put into his game, and of course, with his own physicality now he's able to score through the contact. And you can see that he's got a plethora of moves. I mean, that tornado, that little, I'm going to stop, I'm going to spin one side, and then I'm going to go on the next side if it's not there. If it's working, why change it, right? We call it the tornado here, all right? So, Tornado P. Let's call him Tornado P, all right? Or Tasmanian P. There we go, because, Tasmanian Devil goes kind of like the tornado if you haven't watched any of the Looney Tunes. But yeah, coming back, Pascal, like he scored 37 points and he had himself a triple-double. I believe he had, if I remember carefully, 12 assists or 11 boards or vice versa, something like that. Either way, double-digit assists. Again, no Freddie, no problem. Our main guy, Pascal, he can do it, and he will do it. But there was another reason why Pascal was able to get so many assists. Because he had Precious to help him out. He had Scotty to help him out. He had Chris to help him out. When they needed it the most, these guys helped him out, right? And that's what, now that everybody's getting comfortable, now that everybody's on the same page, they've bought into their roles, now the wins are coming. It's coming. It's so much so that even the U.S. media has acknowledged that the Raptors, if they were to face the 76ers in the playoffs in the first round, they could very well give Philadelphia a run for their money. I'm going to talk about Philadelphia a little bit later right now. But let me recap again. But let me get into finishing off with the Raptors here. Gary Trent. Man. Gary Trent. He had a little bit of a slow start. But I think around maybe the third quarter, beginning of the third quarter-ish, he just started playing like a man possessed. And he realized that he hasn't been doing much. Hell, even I realized he wasn't doing much. I was kind of like, man, where is Gary? Is he like sleeping or something? Like, he needs to get his offense going. That's the only way we can win this game. I mean, Pascal is doing his thing. Scotty's trying to do his thing. Precious is even doing his thing. But if we have Joel Embiid, James Harden, and Tobias Harris to worry about, and of course Tyler Maxey, man, I wish we had picked him up last year in the trade deadline. But again, it's all good. We had Lowry. We weren't getting that good of a return. It's all good. And they weren't willing to give up on Tyler Maxey. Well, we can see why now. But having said that, I'm happy with our roster right now. I really am. So Gary Trent, he dropped 30 points. 30 points. Man, Gary Trent has the potential. When I look at Gary, this whole season, and a little bit of last season, I could see the potential in him. And I'm going to talk about Gary again in the against the when the Raptors face against the Houston Rockets. But coming back to the Philly game, Gary has so much potential. Like, he could be the all-star. Special mention, special shout out again goes to our veteran, Thaddeus Young. He did exactly what was required to win. The hustle plays, strengthening that bench. His stats don't necessarily jump out, but he's not here to be that stat sheet stuffer. Our stat sheet stuffers are Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, Freddie certain nights, OG whenever he gets healthy, and that's unfortunate for OG because I really hope, like, if he can be healthy in time for the playoffs, man, we would be a problem for any team. Gary Trent, these are the stat sheet stuffers. Thaddeus doesn't need to be that stat sheet stuffer. He just needs to defend well. He just needs to know the scheme, the plays, his role, and he's good to go. And that's what he's doing. He's a veteran. So everybody who doubted Thaddeus Young since day one, since he just came into the team, come on. Now you gotta agree that Thaddeus Young is the real deal, and that move was the best move. We got so much out of nothing. Out of a man, Goran Dragic. We got Thaddeus for Goran. Think about that. How many games has Goran played and how much of an impact Goran has had on Toronto wins? 0. He has had no impact on Toronto winning. How much has Thaddeus Young had? He bolstered the bench, so much so now the bench is actually a deep bench for the Toronto Raptors. What was once a problem in the early stages of the season is now an asset for us. We can actually rely on the bench. So, of course, the final score of the game, 119 for the Raptors and 114 for the Philadelphia 76ers. You know what? It was close. It was just that close. And we pulled out at the end. And you know what? If we can keep this kind of performance in the playoffs, I like our chances going into the second round. So I definitely do. I want to talk a little bit about Philadelphia before I get into the next game against the Houston Rockets. So Philadelphia, Joel is doing exactly what Joel does. He was obviously a threat for us. Sometimes we just couldn't contain him, especially when he gets into the paint. You think he's going to go maybe for like a hook shot or a layup or whatever it may be, but then he does that fade away. We just can't guard it. He's already 7-1, right? Even if we have some of our best defenders, he was hitting those shots. So, yeah, that definitely didn't bode well for us. But I thought we still did a very good job defending Joel. The way they were defending Joel, as soon as he grabbed the ball, that's it. They were just swarming him like angry bees. Done. Too easy, right? Now, of course, James Harden. Now, this is what Philly fans, I really feel for you guys. Yes, you guys traded Ben Simmons out. You got Ben Simmons off of your books. Congratulations on that. Hell, I'm happy for you guys, and you guys are the rivals. But having said that, I still think that Philly won in this trade just because James Harden is actually active. He's actually playing, and of course James Harden is more skilled than Ben Simmons on the offensive end, not so much defensive end. Having said that, though, James Harden, something is up with James Harden. I noticed it in the game. This is the first time I've seen Harden play with the Sixers since he got traded. And something is up with Harden. I don't know what it is. I get it, he's 32 years old, and maybe he's a step slower, but he's still a very skillful offensive player. He is still a very deadly three-point shooter, but I didn't see that this game. I was almost waiting to be like, okay, you know what? This is too good to be true. You know, there is no way that the Raptors are defending him so well that he just can't get his offense going. I felt like either he was being apprehensive or he was just not into the game or I don't know what it was bothering him. There was something off about James Harden. Philly fans, if you're watching this and you know what's up, hit the comment section, let me know. Let me know what's going on with James Harden. Or anybody else. If anybody else has an idea about what's going on with James Harden, let me know. I am speculating. Now, this is just my opinion, and I think it might have had to do with Doc Rivers' post-game interview. I don't know which game it was against, but it was huge. I went ahead and watched that interview, post-game interview of Doc Rivers, and you know, when the interviewer was asking him, well, you know, what could you tell us was, you know, one of the factors of you guys losing the game, and he did drop James Harden's name, basically taking ill-advised shots, something like that, and I was like, wow, you know, he called out James Harden almost like how he called Ben Simmons out. So I was like, I don't know if James is going to take that too well. And maybe that could very well have just been it. He was like, oh, you think I'm not helping win? Well, guess what? I am not putting in that effort. Because I could see he wasn't really putting the typical James Harden effort that we are used to seeing. Like, he is a very skillful player.